Now, as I mentioned, we're bringing in our most experienced correspondents as part of our continuing CBS News coverage, and make no mistake, we'll be on the air here throughout the evening, and that includes, of course, the premier war correspondent in the United States, Walter Cronkite. Walter, thanks for being with us tonight. You've been listening and watching, absorbing what's been happening. Give us some context and perspective.
Well, I don't think there's much one can add after the things you have been saying. War has started. A war that we cannot predict. We don't know how it's going to go. We don't know at this hour what our pilots have faced over Baghdad in the way of anti-aircraft weaponry. We know that it's likely to be very intense. The Iraqis have some very fine late weapons, as you heard General Christ and others say tonight. You have been correct. There are Americans dying, undoubtedly, at this hour. We're assuming that their manned aircraft are over Baghdad. We haven't had the actual confirmation of that, but assuming that. The one thing, just in regard to that at the moment, Baghdad radio suggesting there are wave after wave of American bombers overhead suggests, it's rather typical, I think, Iraqi, Arabic overstatement. We don't attack in waves and waves of bombers anymore. That goes back to World War II. They're pretty much individual attacks coming in succession, indeed, but not in waves, I don't believe.
Excuse me, Walter. Scott Pelley, our young correspondent in Dhahran, is there. A Scud missile attack alert is underway. Scott, what are the details?
Dan, at this moment there is an air raid alert. We are told here in Dhahran by U.S. military officials that it is a Scud missile alert. Apparently there has been at least a scare. We are not sure if it has been confirmed, I should say, at this point, that Scud missiles are inbound to our location here in Dhahran. Dhahran is a city on the Persian Gulf. It is the center of the oil industry here in Saudi Arabia, and also the center of a very large military concentration, both British forces, American forces, and Saudi Arabian forces. I am reporting to you from the basement of a building here in Dhahran. We are told once again by military officials that this is a Scud air raid alert. As you know, Dan, the Scud missile is a Soviet-designed missile, surface to surface. There has been some concern over the last several months that the Scud missiles might be used to deliver chemical warheads to areas in the rear, such as where we are now. Dan?
Scott, perhaps it's as good a time as any to emphasize that there are defenses against the Scud missiles. For example, the United States military has the ground-to-air defense missile of its own called the Patriot defense system. And in our most recent visit a few days ago to Dhahran and the U.S. military installation there, it literally bristled with those Patriot protective missiles, which are designed to knock Scuds out of the sky. And as you look here at this map, you see Dhahran. It's on the east coast of Saudi Arabia, facing the Persian Gulf. That road runs straight from Dhahran all the way to Kuwait City. Along that road, north of Dhahran, as you look at the map, up close to Kuwait, at the point of the spear, basically United States Marines on both sides of that road. They also have Patriot defenses against the possible Scud missile attack at their disposal, as well as any number of U.S. air-to-air defenses. So when one says that Dhahran is on a Scud missile alert, that does not necessarily mean that Scuds are headed there, as Scott Pelley said twice. His source is a U.S. military source. He says is a Scud missile alert, that there are defenses against these Scud missiles. This is continuing CBS News coverage of war in the Persian Gulf. The showdown has come to showdown. The air war is underway. Walter, when we talk of the air war, so many people have in mind, I think, the air war as it was conducted in World War II at the very most, the sort of close air-to-ground support epitomized by napalm of the Vietnam War. But when we watched that wonderful documentary about the Civil War, we were reminded how much more deadly weapons get from one war to the next.
Yes, indeed they do. As we're going to find out a lot more in the next few hours, the next few days. Let's hope it's not into the next months ahead. We're going to find out really how deadly these weapons are. I don't know how long it takes a Scud to get from Kuwait down into Dhahran, but if Pelley is right, if that report is right, we'll know in a very short time how effective our anti-aircraft, anti-missiles are against the Scud. Whether the Scud will get in, we may know very shortly. Whether Hussein is really going to use chemical weapons, germ warfare, whatever, at this early stage in the game. Already we're beginning to see some of our pre-war scenarios knocked down and supported, as a matter of fact. The scenarios put forth by one set of experts or another, one that we would attack just as we have attacked in this particular fashion, with the missiles first to get them to use up some of their anti-aircraft missiles, also to set them into some set of confusion in their command quarters, and then the airplanes coming in after that, hopefully with a lot of their missiles now targeted elsewhere. But on the other hand, we've gotten through now a couple of hours of this warfare, 4 or 5 hours of it, I guess, and the scenario, fortunately, that Hussein would strike at Israel right away has not panned out. We can be very happy to say, at this stage anyway. So we're going to learn these things minute by minute as we go along, and this is the major test in the next few hours, the next few days, of the adequacy of our missilery, of our weaponry, of our aircraft, of our tanks, perhaps, and they get into action soon, and that is something we can hold our breaths about. We have confidence, or we should have, and hope we have confidence in our weaponry, but you never know and what they're going to face when they go into the actual combat. They've never done it.
And as we know, weapons in war are important, but wars are won by humans who aim the weapons and use the weapons. In this war, as in every other war, it will get down to the skill, the courage, the valor of those who have the weapons on either side. Another way of saying it's easy to forget when we talk of the technology, the missiles, and what a Scud can do, what our F-15Es can do, that it gets down to a young man, or in some cases a young woman. David.